All right, let's just jump right in. You know that feeling you get online these days? Kind of like you're in a funhouse mirror where everything feels a little distorted and you're not quite sure what's real anymore? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to dive into that crisis and a key figure who's right at the center of the fight to fix it, a guy named Steven Rosenbaum.
And this quote from him, wow, it really hits home. For the longest time, the internet felt like this incredible magic show, connecting all of us in ways we never thought possible. But something's changed, right? The magic feels different. The magicians, the platforms, they're not admitting it's a trick anymore. And that changes everything for us.
So yeah, how did we get here? It really does feel like we're in the middle of a full-blown crisis of truth. Just trying to sort through your daily feed can feel like a second job, totally exhausting.
And listen, this goes so much deeper than just fake news. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about the entire system. A system running on algorithms that are literally designed to reward outrage, and now AI that can cook up totally believable, but fake, realities in an instant. The very idea of what's real and what's not is getting seriously blurry. But here's the twist, and this is what makes the story so compelling. One of the main guys sounding the alarm is one of the very people who helped kickstart this whole revolution in the first place. So let's meet Steven Rosenbaum, a man who's often called the father of user-generated content.
Just to make sure we're on the same page, user-generated content, or UGC, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's all the stuff, the photos, the videos, the posts that we put online. It's the fuel that runs the modern internet. And Rosenbaum, he was there right at the beginning of it all.
I mean, his journey here is pretty amazing. Think about it. Way back in 1995, he created a show for MTV called Unfiltered, literally handing out cameras and letting viewers tell their own stories on TV. After 9/11, he collected and archived 500 hours of video from people on the ground, an absolutely essential piece of history. And get this, by 2011, he'd already written a book called Curation Nation, warning everyone about the information tsunami that was coming. He's been in these trenches for decades.
So, you see, this whole thing started with so much hope. The big dream was for a more democratic web, a place where everybody could have a voice. But somewhere along the line, that beautiful promise took a very dark turn.
And you can see that shift so clearly here. The promise was empowering regular people, sharing authentic stories. The reality? Algorithmic control. The platforms figured out that outrage keeps us scrolling. So this democratic dream became what Rosenbaum calls an engineered environment, designed not for us, but for profit. Human touch, human curation, it got replaced by the cold, calculated logic of the machine.
And this is where the story really starts to pivot. Rosenbaum points out that for years, big tech's defense was always, hey, we're just a neutral platform, a passive host, but that argument is finally starting to fall apart. A recent court case flat out rejected that idea, saying no, these are actively engineered systems. And when you're the engineer, you're responsible for what you build. Which brings us to what's happening right now, the real fight for accountability. We're moving out of the awareness phase and into a new chapter of taking direct action. So, in March of 2026, this huge case, one that's seen as a test for thousands of others just like it, went to trial. A jury had to decide, can huge companies like Meta and YouTube actually be held responsible for the design of their platforms?
And the answer they came back with was a bombshell, a $3 million award in damages. The jury found the platforms were negligent. They said, yes, your design failures were a major factor in causing real harm, and you knew about the risks and failed to warn anybody.
And they didn't mince words either. They put 70% of the blame squarely on Meta, with the other 30% on YouTube. It was about as clear a message as you can get. You built this. You're responsible for it.
Immediately, people started calling this social media's big tobacco moment. And it's a perfect analogy, isn't it? Just like when the world found out tobacco companies knew for decades how harmful cigarettes were, this case put the known dangers of social media's design on the public record, in a court of law. This sets a massive, massive precedent.
Emma Lemke, who works with Rosenbaum's nonprofit, just nailed it. She said that for so long, young people have been talking about the harm these platforms can cause, and this verdict, it finally validates their experience. It's a court acknowledging that these sites don't just host our behavior, they actively shape it.
So you have to wonder, right? Where do we go from here? A huge battle was just won, but the bigger war for a digital world that's actually healthy for us, well, that's a long way from over.
And Rosenbaum? He's already looking ahead to the next fight. His new book, The Future of Truth,
is all about how AI is going to warp reality even more than we can imagine. And through his organization, the Sustainable Media Center, he's gathering people to try and build better, more ethical alternatives.
And that really leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. As Rosenbaum says, truth isn't some product that just gets delivered to your screen, it's an action. It's something we have to do. It takes work, it takes curiosity, and it takes the guts to question the very systems we live inside of. So I guess the real question isn't just what happens next, it's what part are you going to play?